heard the shots clear as day. They were super loud.
Right now at 10, a couple is shot at an Enterprise Rent-A-Car Friday in downtown Denver.
Why it happened, we don't know yet.
Tonight, what we're learning about the victims who were targeted at random.
High fire danger returns for Colorado. We're tracking windy and dry conditions to start your week.
Plus, it's the final push at our state capitol. From putting money in the hands of homeowners to protecting our kids from flavored tobacco, we look at the pressing issues facing state lawmakers before the legislative session ends.
Thank you for joining us tonight for Denver 7 News at 10. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
And I'm Brian Wang. Tonight we're learning more about the two victims of a random shooting on Broadway Friday outside the Enterprise Rent-A-Car in Denver.
One man was killed. His wife is still in critical condition. Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez joins us live now. And Ivan, we are learning more about this couple tonight.
Their names are Patrick and Shannon Hune. Both of them were visiting from Ohio and renting a car when DPD says a random man shot them. We spoke with people who were at the scene as well as those close to the Hune family. For the last few days, Matthew Dodge hasn't forgotten about the sounds he heard from his home near 3rd and Broadway.
It's on my mind a lot because I think about the shots that I heard and the fact that one or two of those shots took a life.
As soon as he heard the shots coming from the nearby Enterprise Rent-A-Car, he peeked outside.
Following the shots, I heard someone screaming, so I ran over to my window. Quickly spotted a lady kind of running frantically back and forth, and that's when I noticed a guy first running south on Broadway.
30-year-old Darren Harris was later arrested at a nearby liquor store. The people he shot, Patrick Hune and his wife Shannon, both of them visiting from Ohio and were in the process of renting a car. Patrick passed away in the hospital.
Why it happened, we don't know yet.
Kurt Ruffing is the principal of Elder High School, the school Patrick Hune and both of his sons attended. He says Shannon is still in the hospital.
Praying for her recovery, praying for the whole family, including Shannon, Ben, and Brian, that, they just lost their Shannon's husband and their Ben and Brian's father. So tragically.
Ruffing says both Patrick and Shannon were very involved with the school's band program. An entire community now mourning an unexpected loss.
They're definitely in our thoughts and prayers.
The man who was arrested was charged with first-degree murder. We have reached out to the Hune family, but understandably still have not heard back.
All right, thank you, Ivan. A Thornton intersection just reopened in the past 35 minutes after a deadly crash just earlier this evening. This is a look at the scene near 84th and Washington, just east of I-25. Thornton police say a woman was killed, 4 other people taken to the hospital with serious injuries. No word yet on what caused this crash and no estimate on when the intersection will reopen.
Smoke from wildfires in New Mexico is making its way to Colorado. The National Weather Service says the biggest impacts right now are in southwestern and central Colorado. Turning now to meteorologist Stacey Donaldson. Stacey, fire danger will be very high tomorrow across Colorado.
It will, especially through the southern part of the state where those winds will be very high as they have been for today. We also have that high fire danger all the way up into the metro area with a fire weather watch in effect for tomorrow. Fire weather watch to the south for Tuesday as we're anticipating high winds and high temperatures going into the next couple of days. Wind advisories here for western Colorado for gusts up to about 70 miles an hour and a blowing dust advisory tonight with those high winds right around Alamosa. We'll see a lot of dust blowing around and creating low visibility in places down to about a quarter of a mile. As for high wind warning, we've had that extended from Leadville all the way back along I-70 back toward the western slope and down into southern Colorado as well. We could see wind gusts as high as 80 miles an hour. So at this point, still very gusty out here across the state, especially in the southwestern part of Colorado tonight. It'll be 47 degrees in Denver with partly cloudy skies. And we're going to be talking about a huge warm up this week on our 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
And because of the warmer weather, we're seeing snowpack across the high country, weakening, which increases the risk of an avalanche. The Colorado Avalanche Information Center has raised avalanche danger to moderate. They say it's best to get an early start if you're headed out for a hike.
Search and rescue teams will be back out at Cherry Creek State Park in the morning to search for a man who drowned there last night. Colorado Parks and Wildlife says the 29-year-old man was riding on a tube that was being pulled by a boat when he fell off and went underwater. He never came back up. CPW says the man was not wearing a life jacket, which is required under state law for anyone being pulled on an inner tube.
All agencies involved at this point are trying to find a little bit that find that piece of closure for the family, and our condolences really go out to the family members in situations like this.
And search and rescue teams are using remote-operated underwater sonar and video cameras to try to find the man's body. The reservoir will remain closed to boating tomorrow. There were several other rescues along the Front Range yesterday. South Metro Fire and Arapahoe County deputies rescued someone at Chatfield Reservoir, and Poudre Fire Authority responded to a call of a missing paddleboarder and kayaker at Horsetooth Reservoir yesterday. Those people were found safe.
Thank goodness. All right, we are in the home stretch at the state capitol. The legislative session comes to an end on Wednesday, and there's still a lot of work to be done. Here's a look at the 3 bills that state lawmakers will try to pass this week. Tomorrow, the House will have a third and final hearing on the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives bill. It would create an office within the state's Department of Safety dedicated to investigating cases of missing and murdered Indigenous people. It already passed the state Senate. A bill to ban the sale of flavored nicotine has its first hearing in the Senate committee tomorrow. The one stalled in the House for a while because potential impacts to universal pre-K funding if passed. The governor is not supportive of the bill in its current form, so even if it passes, he could choose to veto it. The property tax bill has its third and final hearing tomorrow in the state Senate. If approved, it will offer an average of $274 in savings for a home worth $500,000. It also offers savings for businesses for the next 2 years. It already passed the Senate.
This week, the U.S. Senate will vote on legislation to codify abortion rights into law. This comes as protests this weekend targeted the private homes of 2 high court justices. ABC's Faith Abube has reaction from both sides of the issue.
Tonight, protesters back on the streets and in front of the U.S. Supreme Court after last week's bombshell leak of the Supreme Court draft opinion. From California,
abortion is healthcare, and it's 2022. I can't believe we're having this conversation, but here we are.
To Texas.
I do believe in the right to life, and I believe that this right to life is being denied.
Demonstrators showing the abortion debate is far from over.
Keep abortion safe and legal.
And in the D.C. area, dozens protesting outside the homes of conservative Justice Brett Kavanaugh and Chief Justice John Roberts. In a statement last week, the court saying the draft opinion, which suggests the conservative majority on the court plans to overturn the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling, quote, does not represent a decision by the court or the final position of any member on the issues in the case. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi today saying the draft is still a slap in the face.
Here we are on Mother's Day, a week where the court has slapped women in the face in terms of disrespect for their judgment about the size and timing of their families. So the fact is, let's keep our eye on the ball. The ball is in the court. Those justices.
And there are renewed calls for Congress to take action. The Women's Health Protection Act, which would codify federal abortion protections, passed the House back in September, but has stalled in the U.S. Senate.
My Democratic friends are trying to pass a law Wednesday that will allow abortion right up to the day before the baby is delivered. Different states will take different approaches, so the abortion debate will not go away in the country. It will be decided by the people, not a handful of judges.
Senator Amy Klobuchar telling ABC News that if Wednesday's scheduled vote fails, Democrats are ready to take the issue directly to voters.
We march straight to the ballot box, and the women of this country and the men who stand with them will vote like they've never voted before.
Faith Abube, ABC News.
And Democrats need at least 60 votes in the Senate to pass this legislation. At this point, they do not have that support, and the vote Wednesday is expected to fail.
Electric vehicles are the future, and Colorado is leading the way.
Every day another car company comes out with an electric car.
New federal funding could help our state advance its mission even further.
We're in the process right now of getting our arms around it.
And wild horse activists aren't giving up the fight. We have details on a planned protest at the BLM office in the Denver Metro tomorrow.
Plus, finding comfort through shared pain, how an organization helped young women this Mother's Day.
It's just to provide a really positive role model, but also to show the girls that loss is survivable.